G'day guys, just wanted to do a quick tutorial on the printing process from beginning to end. So this is the software, the RIP program that we use. It's called Print Pro DTG. This is how it looks when we first open it. So today we're going to be printing a black t-shirt. So what we do is we go to this little drop down here and we choose deep color true black, and we want to go hop 2 times 1. That's going to give us the 2 platens. So each one of these little window platens here is a t-shirt. Now we will open up here, we go to this little open icon and we'll find where we've got the artwork stored. We choose which artwork we need to use. It'll open up in a window on top here. You just minimize that and you'll have your artworks. All your artworks as you open them will be over here on the left hand side. So we just drag that in to the window. There's a little show Q rip. We need to have this one open too, just here on the right hand side. This is how we position everything. Now you can hold the control button down and drag your image around in the window, or you can come over here and resize it in centimeters. It will resize, and here is the position on the XY axis. So if we wanted to go 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, brings us into the position on the window. So from here, what we want to do is we go to this little drop down, and this is going to be the print settings. So we've got a black background, which is correct. We choose that. Then you need to choose your printer here in the port. Then hit properties, device options, and see we have the white underbase layer here. And for white underbase we use 1440 by 720. Always by, always 4 pass, and for white we use fine and wave 2, and we keep this variable small heavy, and that's it for the white settings. Now we want to click this drop down and do the color, because there's a color overlay on this one. Always 720 by 720, always 4 pass, and for color it's fine and fog 3. Always variable, always small, but we go medium here. Here where it says count, that's how many times the print will pass the ink. So at the moment we've got 1 pass. You can choose 2, 3, whatever, but 1 is generally fine. We hit OK, hit OK again, and to initiate the print process we hit File, Print. I haven't got the printer connected up, but usually you would select it there and hit OK. And that's how this software works. Now if we're going to do a white image, a white t-shirt, we choose white media 2/1, and that'll open this window. And see, now we have a white background, and it's the same setup. You go here and you hit white this time, properties, device options. Now we're printing color, there's no white ink going here, so see how this is blacked out here. We want to go 720 by 720 as in the previous example. We want to go 4 pass, fine and fog 3, and medium, count 1. OK, OK, and then we just go File, Print. Obviously once we have, see over here in the Q rip, where we want to resize it. So say we'll just go 10 centimeters this time. We want to make it 5 centimeters across and 8 centimeters down, and that's the position we want. So we hit File, Print, select your printer, and OK. And that is essentially how this software works. G'day guys, so now we're going to run through the process of initiating the machine to start up and get into the printing process. So we open up the lid and you'll see the print head here. Now there's a little solenoid here that you press up and down. This is the print head release. Okay, so first thing we need to do is just release that print head, push it down, slide it across. Now this section here is a spit pad. So what I usually do is I'll get a bit of printing solution and I'll pop it onto that spit pad. It's ink disbursement solution. I'll just pop it on there to begin with, so when the print head spits on there, it doesn't all build up and it just falls through nicely into the waste tank. So I just have a little bit of solution here in this syringe and I'll just wet it down, slide the print head back into position. Okay, so we'll come over here to the control panel and hit power. It'll start up and initialize. It's just initializing over there. See, right now it's just doing a little spit onto that spit pad that we just dampened. Okay, so it's saying cover open, which basically means that the bed here that slides in and out that we load t-shirts on is still open. So I've got a little bit of film here that I just sit on there and I hang it over a couple centimeters on each edge. And we come over here to this little control. This is the up and down. So this controls this whole bed section. So we go up and make sure it's all the way up. And we come over here and this is the load and eject. So we're going to load. Okay, so the first thing we need to do now, we're at print ready, is we need to run a print head clean just to blow out any residual ink that's been sitting in that print head while the machine's been off. So we hit menu, enter, we just hold enter for 3 seconds. Just going to initiate a print head clean now. This takes a little bit of time. I'll come back to you after the print head clean is completed. Okay, so the print head clean has completed. And now we're going to just run a nozzle check to ensure that all the nozzles are firing correctly, and we're going to get a nice print on every t-shirt. So we hit menu, enter, up button, says nozzle check, and enter. And it's going to run a nozzle check across that film that I left in there. It's just spitting out onto that pad again. Okay, it might be a little hard to see in the film, but it's left a bunch of lines in multiple colors, in all 4 colors, and a whole bottom line in the white ink. Now, this does not need to be absolutely perfect. As long as majority of your lines are unbroken, you should be fine to print. If you've got a lot of broken lines, what you need to do is just reinitiate another print head clean, and then reinitiate another nozzle check as we have done here, to ensure that we have good unbroken lines for the most part. Now, this looks pretty good, so I'll get rid of this, and we're set up and we're ready to print. Now, before we move any further, just one more thing. After we ran that that print head clean, it has left the wiper blade and a few things inside the capping station here with a bit of ink on them. So we just want to clean that off. This is the maintenance that I was talking about. That's super important if you want to keep your machine in good operational order. So again, we just hit this little solenoid here and open the print head. Down here at the back there, that's the wiper blade that wipes the print head off, and this capping station here has a rubber seal around it. So we just want to wipe that little bit of ink off that wiper blade. Keep it nice and clean, and just clean around this rubber seal in here. Bring the print head back into position, and that's it. Okay guys, now the machine is all set up and ready to go. I'm just going to run you through the process of preparing a shirt for printing. So what we're about to do now is take this lint roller, and we're going to run it over top of this shirt just to get any of the excess lint that may be sticking up out of the shirt Now, this only needs to be done with dark colors such as black or dark purples, things like that. Anything that you're putting white ink on. For a white t-shirt and light color t-shirt, you can skip this step. For this one, we're only on the front, and we're just doing a small print on the left hand side pocket. So that's the only area that I need to delint. Give it a little shake off. And just throw it in the press for a couple of seconds. So now we're going to move into the pre-treat machine and the process of pre-treating the t-shirt. So we've taken the lint off the t-shirt, and with this machine, it prints on it pre-treats on 4 steps, 4 locations. So you can do, this is the platen here that the shirt goes on. At the moment we have it set for these 2 top sections, so it's going to basically pre-treat 1/2 of this platen, which will be the top half. You can control the speed of this basically determines how thick the pre-treat lays on. 5 is the thickest and 1 is the thinnest. Round trip just means that it's going to go over top of the shirt 2 times. 1, 2. If it's on single trip, it'll just pass one time. Okay, so let's get into that. We'll take the t-shirt, and lay it in. Just tuck in all the edges so we don't get excess pre-treatment all over the t-shirt. Put it in and hit the start button. Now we have Pretreat on that top half. We're going to remove the shirt from the Pretreat machine. Take it here to the heat press. And we press it. 45 seconds on medium pressure. Once that t-shirt is dry, we'll take it over to the printing machine and move on to the next steps of actually printing the t-shirt. Okay guys, so this is the platen that we put the t-shirt on to be printed on. It just lifts straight out of the printer, it's not locked in or anything. So we take the t-shirt and we lay it across the platen, and we want to get it centered. So we'll just pull it down just past the collar here, open it up, and I just use my hands to do the top part, and I just ensure that it's equal on both sides. Move down to the bottom, again it's equal on both sides. We're just over the lip here and we tuck it in. Fold all the excess in. We'll take this over to the machine now. And that just sits straight in there. And now I'll load the second t-shirt and we'll move on to the print process. Okay, so we have both t-shirts loaded on each platen here. And what we do is this whole platen bed, you can push it in and out by hand, but you do not want to do this too fast or you can burn out the main board in this whole machine. You just want to do it at a slow, steady pace. There's a laser on here that determines the height, so the print head, when it passes, is not going to hit the t-shirt. So we want to go up as far as we can go, and you see it won't let me go up any further. I've just pushed it in a little bit, gone all the way up, and then we just hit the load button. The t-shirts will load. This little light here will go green, and we're ready to print. Okay guys, so we've got our t-shirts loaded in the machine, and I am going to run through the entire process of setting up the artwork in the RIP software and initiating a print. So we can go either file, open, or we can just go to this little file icon. Again, we find where we have the artwork saved, and we choose the correct artwork. Open it up. Minimize this window again, and we have the artwork here on the left hand side. So I'll just drag it in. Sorry, I need to choose, these are black t-shirts, so I need to go down to deep color true black, choose black hop 2/1. And now I drag it in. I go over here and resize it. Now this is a front left hand side pocket print. So we usually do them at 10 centimeters across, and I want to position it at 18 across, so almost all the way to the left side of the platen. And we generally go 7.5, anywhere between 6, depending on the side of the t-shirt, 6 centimeters down to 8.5 down. So I'm going to go 7.5 down for this particular job, and then I drag it into the other side and do the same thing. Okay, so that's all set up. Now what we want to do is we don't want to run that white underbase. This is the white layer at full 100% ink. So I usually drop this down to about anywhere between 90 to 100, and if it's a very small print we'll go even down to 75. But for this one I'm going to go 95. Now we're going to go here again to this little drop down, black. See, now we have the printer here which is available, properties, device options, and we have white underbase selected. Now remember, we want this at 1440 by 720, 4 pass, and we want to go fine and wave 2. Over here, variable small heavy and 1 count, that's all correct. So now we're going to do the color layer. Select color, 720 by 720, which is correct. We want to go 4 pass, fine and fog 3, variable small, medium, 1 count, which is correct. Press OK, press OK. Now we hit the little print icon and we hit OK, and that is going to initiate our print process. Okay guys, I'm about to initiate the print process and hit OK. We're going to see the printer spring into action and do what it's designed to do. What will happen first is it'll lay down the white layer, which is the base layer, so white ink only, because these are black and or dark t-shirts. And then it'll go back and do the second layer, which is the color layer. So we can see white being laid down there. I'll just pause this video for a second and we'll come back when we're just finishing up on the color layer. So we're just finishing up on the color layer now. Just give it a moment to finish up what it's doing there. The shirts will eject. And we now have 2 t-shirts printed with the left hand side pocket. So the next step will be taking the t-shirt off the platen and putting it into the heat press. Bring the platen over here. Untuck the shirt and we take it over to the heat press. Okay, so we have it sitting in the heat press. Generally I'll leave it here for 10-20 seconds just to sort of cure the top of the ink, so when I press it down it doesn't sort of smudge the ink in any way. Now we're on 175 degrees Celsius and we press for 45 seconds to cure this ink. Now this will always be different depending on what sort of ink you use. We're using Image Armor right now and that's the recommended setting, 175 degrees Celsius at 45 seconds. If you use DuPont or any other brands of ink, this setting will be different. So let's push this down. I'm going 45 seconds. And this heat press is automatic release, so it will just pop up on its own. There's no chance that will overcure, burn the shirt or anything of that nature. Once this pops up, that shirt is literally printed and ready to send to the customer. Okay guys, so now we're going to run through a bit of end of day cleanup and maintenance. Now if you want your machines to perform consistently for you and be in good standing, good working order, this is probably the most important part of this whole tutorial. You need to maintain your machines, especially at the end of the day, every single day, if you want consistent results. So we're going to start off with the EcoFriend Mr. T1 Pretreat machine, and right there we are using dark Pretreat in the machine at the moment. I'm going to just change it over to water. Now we don't use just any type of water. In all products when it comes to direct to garment, we need to use distilled water. You can pick this up at pretty much any supermarket. So I'll show you how that's done. Okay, so we now have distilled water in the machine. Just open out the platen, and here on the control panel I'm going to press clean. Now the reason why I'm going to do this is I want the distilled water to push all of the pre-treatment out of the tubing and out of the pump and clean out the nozzle inside. So we'll hit clean and that'll just spray, and I'll watch that tube till it turns clear. Okay, that's clear. Now I'll look down in here until I see clear water coming through, and that's clear. Now I'll just run it up and down on its rails a few times just to wash off most of the pre-treating there. So that's done. Now this one here is the excess tank. Just give that a little bit of a shake and you'll see it'll start to clear out what's pooling up in the bottom there. Now from this point we'll lift the lid, and I'm not actually going to do this on film, but all this inside just needs a good clean out, a good wipe out. Just use regular water to wipe it out, and a damp kitchen sponge. Clean it all out, turn the machine off. The nozzle on this particular machine has its own capping station there, where it'll move into the capping station overnight. And as long as it's plugged in this particular machine, it will spray water every 4 hours into that capping station just to keep the nozzle nice and clean and ready to use the next day. And that's basically the maintenance for the T1 Mr. Pretreat machine. We'll move on over now to the direct-to-garment printer, the M2. Okay guys, so now we're going to do the end of day maintenance on the DTG machine. This is an M2 printer. It's a semi-industrial printer designed and manufactured by DTG Digital Australia. Okay, so as with the Pretreat machine, it's super important to do your end of day maintenance every day consistently if you want this machine running in optimal levels. Okay, so to do the end of day maintenance, we need a few things. We just need a lint-free cloth, a swab. If you don't have these swabs, you can just use the lint-free cloth. We need a syringe with cleaning solution in it, and we need cleaning solution. So what we're going to do is just load the platens in. And from here we are going to run a print head clean. Let's see if I can set this up so you can see what's going on. So I'm going to run a print head clean. In the first video I showed you how that's done over there on the control panel. There is another small process involved in that that I'll show you right here. So as it initiates the print head clean, when we're doing last final clean of the day, we will take this syringe and we're going to squirt some of it into the capping station as it sucks the ink through to the waste bottle down the bottom. So we just squirt some of that in there now. That just helps whatever ink is sitting in that capping station to go through smoothly into the waste ink and keep it nice and clean on the pad. We're going to do that a second time. Okay, now we can turn the machine off. I've just powered down, and what we will do from this point is just push these beds in a little bit further. And just like I showed you earlier, we hit this solenoid and just remove the print head. Now we'll take this swab, or you can use the lint-free cloth, depending if you have the swabs or not. And we're going to clean up again that wiper blade that I showed you earlier and just around the capping station. Okay, so what I've just done there is clean this wiper blade. This wiper blade just here, it's a rubber wiper blade, and also the rubber around the capping station. Now this is the spit pad that in the first video that we wet. Now this just pops up here by this little tab and it comes out, and we're going to take that and we're going to wash that out with cold water. This is heat cured ink, so we don't want to use hot water, we want to use cold water so the ink doesn't dry up and clog up this spit pad. So I'm going to go do that now and I'll be back. Okay guys, so the next step in this process is actually cleaning the bottom face of the print head. Now, I'll try to get in there. I don't know how well you can see that, but that is the face of the print head. And it actually needs, what happens is, on the face of the print head, as it passes over top of the clothing, little bits of lint get stuck on it, little bits of ink are on there from going over that wiper blade just there. And so we're going to clean all around the face of the print head first, and the plastic bits to either side, and then we're going to get the clean lint-free cloth again and just really gently rub it over the face of the print head itself. I will put the camera down in there, but I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it as I do this process. So I'm just cleaning the black plastic bits at the moment that are either side of the print head face, and just around the edges of the print head itself, the back of the print head, the front of the print head. And now I'll get a clean part of the cloth, and it has cleaning solution on the cloth, and I will just gently rub over from back to front over top of the print head itself. Very, very gently. Okay guys, so I've now washed up this spit pad, and I'm going to do the final stages. So again, you don't want to leave this print head outside of its capping station for too long, otherwise the print head can dry up, and that's a worst case scenario. That means you've got clogged nozzles and you need to replace the print head, and you just don't want that. Okay, so again, I hit this solenoid, just pull it across. I will refit this spit pad. Just pops in there like so. And what I will do is I wet cap every night, and that means that I just squirt a little bit of cleaning solution into the capping station here. Just squirt that in. Bring the print head back across. Seat it in its capping station, and that's it folks. So that is my tutorial on how to print DTG using an M2 machine, an eco-friend Pretreat machine from start to finish. Also the software was called Print Pro, which is a RIP program used for DTG. Print Pro can be used for any DTG machine, not just the M2. Okay guys, so if you guys got value out of this, please share it with anyone you know. And if you want premium custom t-shirts made anywhere in Australia, we ship Australia wide. We also ship overseas, but our main target is in Australia. Go to www.graphinc.com.au. that's www.graphinc.com.au. Thanks for watching.